Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you're doing fantastic. Listen, today we're going to be talking about possibly if the bull run might happen a little bit earlier, and we're going to review our typical coins that we love and we all hold. When we look at the Bitcoin dominance, we see multiple daily rejections perfectly lining up with the trend line, right? We could see we were in this type of channel for pretty much since May 2023, and we were just kind of going more or less through this channel. And recently, not too long ago, we broke out, right? We called how there's going to be a reversal over here lower, and we said we got to see if it's going to be going back up, or what's going to happen, if it's going to retest off of it, or if it's going to be going higher into this 69 area like we said before. At this current moment, there just seems to be no sign of life in terms of Bitcoin dominance. We see for 3 days in a row, it failed to pretty much close above the trend line, right? We can see it attempted for 3 days, and each day, each candle closed around 57%, while we had to close above 57.5% to really start going above this trend line and to enter back into the channel. So what do I expect with Bitcoin overall? Well, if the weekly ends like this, right, because we are still a couple of days from the weekly candle closing, then I could see one final little pullback attempt. If we reject this, then we should continue selling off. And if that's going to happen, altcoin season might happen earlier than expected. Now, if we look at Bitcoin itself, before we jump into our beautiful altcoins, we can see that when we kind of just look at the monthly even, we can see that in October, we recovered very well. In November, we broke out. Now, things are a little different this time because most of the time in the cycle, we would kind of go halfway, retrace, and then go again. But this time, we kind of just flew by up to the all-time highs, pretty much retested and consolidated up this area for many, many months, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months of sideways movement before we started to break out. We could see pretty much October was the recovery candle. We went from 63,000 to we closed at 70,000. At one point, we're at 58,000 and we went to 73,500. So we can see the overall October was the recovery candle and November was the big bang. Last time we saw, though, that it was pretty much November, the big recovery, and then December was the big bang, right? December was the official breakthrough candle, while this time it was November. So it makes me think that we might possibly have altcoin season happen between February and March, maybe pushing to April, rather than, late March pushing halfway through May. So that is just a possibility. That is just a theory. Obviously, we're going to have to see when the time comes and what the data says. But at that moment, I do have it in my mind that things might explode earlier, which I personally don't mind. I don't mind if things really hit the fan, start selling off crazy over the next few months, and you just get your money quicker. You just get your money quicker. There's no problem, right? And if anything, we could always take the money out. We could reset. If there's more confirmation of things reversing, we could go round two, maybe the same amount of risk as we put in initially in the beginning of the bull run. So if you put in 100,000 and you made 600,000, let's say, you could put in 100,000 again, or maybe since you made more, you could put 200,000 again. Or if you're feeling very frisky, you could put it all at the bottom, right? It's up to you how you want to risk. So like I said, it dumping earlier does not bother me. Now let's just look at our coins, because we can see many coins have pretty much recovered. When we go to Turbo, our main boy, we can see that Turbo has been selling off, but the selling pressure is very low. We're on a 4-hour time frame, and we can see that there's decent selling pressure within the first 8 hours, but after that, it's been fairly weak. We can see compared to this, right, 8 hours of price action, it pumped 30%, but when we take it from here to here, in the last 16 hours, it's gone only maximum down 11%, right? And at the moment, it's down pretty much 8.5%. So we can see the selling pressure is extremely weak, right? A good buying opportunity could be now. In terms of structure, there's still no confirmation. So we could go into the 4-hour order block, which would be a little bit more than 50% retracement, around 61, 62%. So it aligns perfectly with everything, right? We talked about this before. We have a high here, we have a higher high, right? We expect to make a higher low somewhere. And I believe we could print it into this candle around the 50 to 61% retracement, which is also perfect when something's extremely bullish. And I just feel like that's a great place to buy. So Turbo still really bullish. My personal opinion on Turbo is that Turbo is still ahead of the cycle. And I do believe personally it will sell off and peak earlier. But of course, we will monitor it throughout the next few weeks. Now, let's go to our boy Myro. Myro, I'm still bullish on Myro because the thing is, even though it doesn't have that much of an active community compared to Turbo and some other coins, I still believe Myro is in a consolidation zone, right? We can see we talked about this order block here before. We thought we are going to hit it a little bit earlier when price action was coming down here in the beginning of December, but then we didn't. Then we got a huge sell off, just like everything else sold off. And now we went to this order block and we are slowly making our way back. I believe overall with Myro, there's going to be a bandwagon. You have to remember right now, this is a community takeover. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. So people are going to see opportunity and people are going to pump coins. Yes, there's always going to be new meme coins, but I believe due to previous structure and Myro's potential, it could still pump very well to $2. Now, that's my personal opinion. You don't have to agree with it. Some people think it's dead, but let me tell you something. When Render was chilling pretty much at $4, a little bit more than $4, people also thought Render was dead. Okay. People thought Render was dead because it went down so much. The price action didn't look so pretty, especially when we go to the daily, right? It would just kind of look like it was struggling and dying. And next thing you know, it starts recovering. Now, obviously, Render is much better than Myro, but I'm saying things can change very, very quickly. And then, once things start pumping, people are, oh, Render train, right? Oh, Myro is going to pump a lot. Myro train. So that's just how it is. And, confirmation bias could be sometimes a killer in terms of getting lots of gains because people buy on green days because they see lots of green. So they're like, oh, it's going to go higher. They see red, they sell. That's just how it is. Anyway, speaking about Render, everything is looking good with this coin at this current moment. We do want to battle back over pretty much $9.80, $10. At the current moment, it looks like it's doing okay. We might have a pullback roughly to 850. So if you haven't bought Render, you can either buy it now or roughly around 850, 860. Now let's go to our beautiful coin KASPA. KASPA is still holding fairly well, right? But there's not much buying pressure at this moment, which might make me believe it might retest the 14-cent zone before it continues going up. We did talk about the potential 13-cent dip, but the probability is low. I think it's only going to happen if the market is going to try to shake people out and snipe us, and pretty much enter us into very specific candles. Pangolin, my beautiful beauty, has recovered over where it has to recover. We can see, right? Buying pressure still isn't the greatest. We still have a couple days left in the weekly. If the weekly candle ends more or less like this, I would still expect one last retest before we kind of, go back up a little bit more. But the fact that it's over, that 35, 36-cent zone, which we've been pretty much preaching forever now, is a very, very good sign. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys next time.